Hello, everybody. I went to Orlando a few weeks ago, and the first and last coaster of the trip I did was Mako at SeaWorld Orlando. I did this ride 15 times in total. It's said to be the best B&M Hyper in the US by most of American enthusiasts, it seems. So it does live up to that. Find out in today's review. First of all, go check out my past 2 Velocicoaster videos I've done. I'll be doing the same exact thing with Mako. First this review, then ranking the elements on it. So go check those out if you'd like. On to Mako though. When you walk in the park, you'll go past Manta and go right, and you'll keep going right until you see a shark theme. The theming you'll see is pretty decent. The first time I rode it, I waited in the regular queue. I don't usually know how long queue lines are when I get in them for the first time, so I couldn't tell. Even though it said what the time was, that isn't always accurate. I waited about 25 minutes for it. The queue has some pretty decent theming, and the reason I had to wait that long was because we got there in the middle of the day. I got in line at around 2:15, and usually in the beginning of the day the lines are a lot shorter for it. I know that because I got 4 quick rides on it before my flight the Monday I came back to the park. It rained on the Friday, so the park cleared out, and I got 11 rides in total that first day. So I can't really judge how it usually is at night, but it didn't have a big line that evening. When you get there, you can see the train gliding past you. It's a really good photo op. You've probably seen many pictures of it. Mako has 7 rows, which is pretty short for a B&M hypercoaster. Has the B&M clamshell restraints, fantastic. My favorite seat is back row, very left or very right. Can't figure it out. Most would say the left, but they each have things they do better than the other side. This ride doesn't have seatbelts, so if you get room, which you're likely to, you'll get some really good airtime. More on that later though. Let's go through all the elements Mako has to offer. This ride has an out and back layout like most B&M hypercoasters do. First you climb up your 200-foot lift hill that drops at the same height, 200 feet, at a 70-degree angle. It's a pretty good first drop, not the best for a B&M hyper, but certainly not the worst. You'll then go through a left-hand turn, which is actually pretty underrated because of the pull-out. The turn itself is pretty fun, but the pull-out makes it better because you can get some solid floater airtime coming down. You can also really notice the water at this point. You'll then rise up into the 5-second airtime hill, which provides very strong and sustained floater airtime. If you push up on your restraint, it can become full ejector. It's a safe yet fun way to get more airtime. Then is the hammerhead turn, which does the same as the rest of them out there. You'll rise up into a very heavy trimmed airtime hill, but you still get some good airtime coming down from it. Then is an airtime hill where you turn to the right as you're coming down. You can get a decent hand chopper coming down. Then comes the speed hill, which was a lot better than I was expecting. It's gotta be my favorite speed hill on a B&M. Over Orion, certainly over Leviathan and Canyonmoniums. Pop into the mid-course brake zone is actually very good in the back. It reminds me of Goliath's finale at Six Flags Over Georgia. The drop off the MCBR isn't anything special. The hill after wasn't special either on Friday, but I was getting some butterflies on Monday, so I actually ended up really enjoying it. Then you get pulled a little bit to the right, especially in the left row, and then it's the very graceful finale, which I'm happy for because I could check the wait time as the ride was ending. Let's get to the categories. Each category is worth more based on how important I think each element is for B&M hypers. I'm gonna give Mako a 9.25 out of 10 for the airtime. I know this might seem low to some people out there, but this only really has 4 moments that give at least solid airtime. It's just not a lot of moments. 9.25 out of 10 is honestly a really good score. It has the second best airtime on a B&M hyper I've ridden, and it's just really solid. For the first drop category, I'll be giving Mako an 8.5 out of 9. It has a very good drop. It's definitely not as good as Diamondback's, but it's way better than Goliath's. They're the same height, and Goliath has 2 more rows, so you'd think it would be better, but it's also 11 degrees more shallow than Mako, and the drop is 25 feet shorter than Mako's is. Mako has one of the best first drops in Florida. It's probably my third or fourth favorite drop on a B&M Hypercoaster I've ridden, but it's still really fun and I enjoyed it every time. I'm giving Mako a 3 out of 4 for intensity. I tend to give coasters with a mediocre amount of intensity a higher score than like literally everybody else, because I don't rate them based off of how intense they are. I rate them based off of how much I like its intensity. I do wish you could feel the wind in your face more though, and feel some of the forces like you do on some of the other B&M Hypers I've ridden. It doesn't have a helix, so that explains why, but it's not an insane deal to me. Mako is probably the worst paced B&M Hypercoaster I've ridden. You can argue with Diamondback, but I think Mako's is worse just because of the ending. You really just feel like you're gliding there at the end, and it does have a mid-course brake run to stop some momentum. The trim brake also slows down the ride a little bit. It's not terrible pacing, but it's not great. I'll give it a 4.5 out of 7. Definitely better coasters out there for pacing. That's one of this coaster's weak spots. I love the setting on Mako. It's not the absolute best, but it's still really good, which is why I'll be giving its setting a 4.75 out of 5. I'm a fan of the water you're going over. It definitely improves the ride experience. There's a road next to you, which actually improves the rides to me because it feels like you're racing the vehicles. And you can get some decent views of Orlando from the lift hill. There's nothing bad with this ride scenery, it's pretty good. I can't express enough how much I love this feeling. For butterflies, I'll give Mako a 9.5 out of 10. You can feel it on the drop, on the 5-second hill slightly, on the speed hill sometimes, and the final hill before the finale. It's not the best for it, but it has a lot of it, so I'd give it a good score. A ride like Diamondback has more of it, but this has some pretty good butterflies as well. Mako's very comfortable, 8 out of 8. All B&M Hypers are. It has very comfortable clamshell restraints and it's glossy smooth. You can't get too many other rides in the world more comfortable than this. It might be the most comfortable B&M Hyper I've done, along with Candymonium. No problem with its comfort at all. I give Mako the same score that I gave Goliath for duration, 7.5 out of 8. They both feel similar and it's decently long. It's not like Diamondback or Behemoth, but it feels longer than Candymonium, and it doesn't have an insane amount of elements. I do kind of wish it had more, but it slows down at the end quite a bit. They did what they could with the space they had, and I think they did a solid job with the length. Adding these totals up, Mako gets a 90% of the points possible, or a 9 out of 10. That's very, very good. My personal score would probably be a 9.5 out of 10. It's a very good coaster, especially at night, which I'll touch more on later in the video. And it's one of my favorite B&M Hypercoasters. This is a bonus category where I'll show what I expected each category to be before I rode. This is very important because rides tend to leave a better taste in your mouth when they surprise you, rather than when they disappoint you. So let's go through my prediction scores. Airtime, 9.75 out of 10. First drop, 9.75 out of 10. Intensity, 3 out of 4. Pacing, 4.5 out of 7. Setting, 5 out of 5. Butterflies, 9.75 out of 10. Comfort, 8 out of 8. Duration, 7.5 out of 8. In total, this comes out to be 94% or 9.4 out of 10. So I guess statistically it did fall short of what I was hoping for. And yes, I do think this ride is overrated, but I wasn't disappointed by it because I knew going in that it wouldn't be as good as Diamondback, like most people would say. I just knew that it wasn't anything that would blow me away, and I'm glad I had the mindset because I wasn't disappointed by it and met expectation right on. It's a very good roller coaster, especially at night with foggy eye views on. You gotta try it. Mako is definitely an upper tier B&M Hyper. It's got some good elements of airtime, it's comfortable, it has a great setting, and I got some good butterflies on it. It's definitely one of my favorites. Not top 5 potential or anything, but certainly top 15, and currently number 10. So that's changing extremely soon from when this video is being made. This ride doesn't deserve hate, and it doesn't deserve number 1 B&M hyper praise. I still think Diamondback destroys every one of them I've ridden, and I don't see that stopping in the future. If there's something I'd change about Mako, it would be longer trains with staggered seating. You could get even more pull, and the pacing wouldn't be as good, but they just have to turn the trim brakes off, which is fine by me. This ride is fun, airtime packed, and very rideable. Very fun to marathon. So that'll do it for today's review. Let me know what you think of Mako. If you want to ride it, if you haven't, you should want to ride it. And if you agree with any of the things I said in this video, a like, share, and comment would be greatly appreciated. That'll be all for this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you later.